Guys, it's 2022 and it's about damn time we stop putting up with things that we shouldn't in our romantic relationships. I'm Brad, aNotSoSingleDad, and here on my channel I talk about family, fitness, and self-improvement. Outside of this YouTube channel, I do participate in several other men's groups, be it on Reddit, Facebook, other YouTube channels, where I provide input for other men who are trying to level up their lives, date the women of their dreams, and overall just have a happier human experience. The vast majority of the questions are exactly the same. How can I date prettier, higher value women and keep them around for the long haul? If you are single in your 30s, be it a single father, just a single guy out on your own, I completely believe that you can level up your life and your skill set. Once you do increase your value and you do become more attractive to women, you need to be able to disqualify women from that list as well. Given the fact that I used to be obese with no self-esteem and I was married to an absolute nightmare of a woman, here I am a couple years later. I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm engaged to literally the most beautiful woman that I've ever seen, and we're actively building a life together for ourselves and our 3 combined children. This video itself is not going to be about that journey. It's going to help guys who are already able to get some dates here and there and are just not having luck finding the right kind of woman that's worth investing in. I'm going to be generalizing a little bit here to keep things simple. Of course, there's exceptions to everything that I'm saying. Make sure you hang out to the end of the video, because at the end I will go over what I feel like is the single best thing that you can do to avoid being in these situations. We're going to get into the first big red flag. Everybody's online right now. Everybody's on social media. You need to be avoiding validation seekers. Say it with me, guys. Seekers. Validation seekers are getting more prevalent as time goes on, but they're also becoming a lot easier to spot. These girls are the ones that you see at the gym, leaving as little as possible to the imagination, trying to catch every eye that they can, worrying less about their workout and more about their booty pics for their social media. These are the women that'll post busty thirst traps to their Facebook or shake their ass for TikTok or Reels. When you look at the hundreds of comments that these girls get, all of them are from thirsty men, often 2, sometimes even 3 times this girl's age. This should be a huge red flag. These ladies receive countless unsolicited DMs and good morning beautifuls. They'll happily respond to a huge number of these with thank yous, hearts, likes. This stimulates the thirst trap further, and these thirsty men continue coming back for this tiny amount of validation that they are getting back, feeding what the women are actually soliciting: constant and abundant male validation. Now, everybody wants to be validated, everybody wants to high five when they do a good job, and everybody loves compliments, especially men. Men on average receive 90% less compliments and validation than the most average physically attractive woman. As men, we are starved for it. But the women constantly bathing in all this silky, smooth male adoration and validation need to be avoided for a few big reasons. First is that seekers are usually lacking in some other aspect of their lives, which is pretty easy to notice when you see a woman flaunting her goods all over the internet. Keeping a large number of men on their clickbaited hooks often makes these types of women feel more valuable, but in truth, it actually lowers their level of attraction and can pretty much crush their hopes of ever finding a good and genuine man. Then there's the fact that these women are quite literally entertaining dozens or even hundreds of men at any given time, keeping them in the back pocket of their tight little jeans, pull out and get a quick dopamine hit whenever they want. Real quick, just imagine being in a relationship that's supposed to be trusting with a girl like this. If she's entertaining dozens or hundreds of other potential suitors, sorry bro, she's just not that into you. Move on. For men who respect themselves and want to find a partner who they respect, this is a hard stop or a complete non-start. Ladies, if you do this and you wonder why you can't find a good guy, here's your sign. Men with value, real value, don't share their women. Those photos that she's taking should be reserved for her boyfriend or husband. We love getting them, but they don't belong in the general public for everyone's eyes to see. Whether she's showing off online or on a pole at a club, still a stripper. Guys, if you're leaving those comments and you're falling for this shit, just stop. Women acting this way online or even in person generally have a really low sense of self-esteem, and they don't value themselves very highly. They tend to miss out on the partners who would have actually been really good to them. As humans, we tend to believe that everybody does what we do, so girls who do this are gonna assume that you're doing this too, so they are less likely to trust you even though they're the one putting themselves out there. It's become easier and easier to dodge these types of women pretty much entirely. Whether you met in person or through online dating, do a quick social media check. See if their Facebook or their Instagram is set to public, run through their feed, see who's commenting on their posts. If you think girls aren't doing this to you, you're wrong, because they are. Nothing wrong with doing a little bit of digging before investing yourself too far, and I absolutely recommend you do so, especially when women engage in this type of behavior. Now, if her pictures have the majority of comments from women and family members, man, that is a great sign. That means that she's probably already blocked the Sims and that she herself has a good understanding that she'll never attract a good quality man by acting this way. She's a lot more likely to have a high sense of self-worth, to have a value set that you're actually gonna find attractive in a long-term mate. God forbid you're ever with a seeker and then you get busy for a couple days. She's gonna be right back to posting that type of stuff and getting every bit of instant gratification she can, because that's where she's used to getting it from her social media followers, most of which she probably doesn't even know who they are. Now, I tried really hard to make a list of exceptions for this one, but I can't think of one. Every woman like this that I've met has been predictably untrustworthy. Avoid women seeking an abundance of male validation. You'll be glad that you did, and you'll find it way easier to trust somebody going into a longer-term relationship. So you've done your homework and her online presence checks out. You FaceTime or hopefully meet in person. Hot damn, she's gorgeous. Either way, you spend a little bit of time with her, but after a little while, you kind of realize that other than being pretty, she really doesn't have much going on. She's got a rockin' body and she checks out online, but that's where it stops. You realize she's pretty lame. She can't hold a conversation, she's got a non-existent sense of humor, no hobbies, nothing to talk about, no opinions. Super hot, but not interesting in the slightest. Her personality summed up in 2 words: attractive woman. Some women think that that's enough to warrant your time, attention, and effort. They lack the depth and intelligence that you're eventually going to crave. These women tend to be hyper-focused on the way that they look. What I found is that some women like this even think they're doing you a favor by simply being attractive and sitting in the same room as you. Now, for some guys, this may be enough for a little while, having a hot woman on your arm. But things get boring real fast, or the relationship will never grow beyond surface-level physical attraction and sex. You're gonna like looking at her, trust me. You're gonna enjoy sleeping with her too, but there's really nothing there to grow. In situations like this, guys will always be looking for another attractive woman with more going on than great makeup and dimpled yoga pants. Ladies, some charm and personality goes a long way. I can't tell you how many times I've been out with an attractive woman for 1, 2, even a few dates, and other than being really attracted to them physically, they were just lame and completely uninteresting people with nothing to offer outside of eye candy. Guys, start going for women that you can enjoy in and out of the bedroom. You need to be looking for a woman who's the whole package, not just pretty wrapping paper. Now, if she's somebody new, if she's a new girlfriend, or you've only been out once or twice, then give her the benefit of the doubt. There are some people who it just takes a little bit of time for them to open up. Don't let this drag on. Hard pass on these women after a couple of dates. If this makes sense and you've met women like this before and agree with me that this is something that way too many men miss, then do me a solid. There's a little share doodad down there that you can mash, and this way we get the word out that being hot just isn't enough. Next up, and we all know these women who are pushing 30 or more and still raising hell multiple times a week. We're gonna call them Tipsy Tinas. She probably still looks great in that tight club outfit. She knows all the door guys, the bartenders, the DJs, everybody in bands, hell, even the event planners have her on a first name basis. What Tipsy Tinas haven't realized yet is that the late nights and hard alcohol have started to take their toll. Now, she may stay home and get drunk on the couch 5 nights a week instead of going out to the bars, but the outcome is still the same. Rough mornings, hangovers, mood swings, being unreliable at anything outside of making last call or passing out drunk on the couch should be a huge turnoff to high value men by this age. The constant need to consume alcohol or other substances should be something that your potential partner has long grown out of by now, at least in depth and frequency. There's nothing wrong with having a drink or two. There's nothing wrong with getting drunk on rare occasion. Getting a nice cocktail somewhere fun and eclectic was actually my go-to date back when I was single. I also don't think there's anything wrong with getting loose once in a while and shaking your ass. Women love to dance, we love to watch them. What I found when I was single in my 30s was that alcoholism is far more rampant than I ever could have imagined. Personally, I'd already made the decision that I wasn't gonna drink for a little while I was trying to improve my body and my health, and I was on this whole self-improvement kick. I just figured it wasn't something that I needed to be doing. It does help. It was really eye-opening for me to be out on the town and to turn down a drink and have somebody ask if I was the one with the problem. In my case, choosing not to drink for a little while was especially powerful during my journey because my ex-wife was an alcoholic, and it became something that I could spot and call out really quickly. I definitely should have caught this sooner, but when a single mom tells you that drinking a bottle of wine a night makes her a better mom and her kid knows how to mix a spritzer, run. Most hard drinkers by this age have gotten very good at covering their tracks when they don't want people to catch on. So here's a couple other things that you can look out for so you don't make the same mistake that I did. She smells like booze when she shows up for a date or pretty much anywhere. Alcohol is a focus in her life, whether it's obtaining it, drinking it, or frequenting places that serve it. She says she drinks so she can sleep, constantly downing Tylenol or aspirin. You might even notice her bringing a traveler to non-drinking events or events where drinking is kind of just inappropriate. Don't approach these types of women like they're some type of pet project. The road to sobriety can be incredibly brutal if somebody even wants to try. You are not her rehab. The worst possible case in our age bracket is somebody who's drinking so heavily that they can no longer manage their daily life. That actually brings me to the last type of woman that I'm going to talk about today before I go into my method for avoiding all of these people entirely. We're going to call them downers, drainers, drowners. Now, I am not strictly talking about women after your finances. Gold diggers, sugar babies have existed for forever. They're super obvious. Most of them will even tell you right up front what they're looking for. What I'm talking about with drowners are people who weigh on you mentally and emotionally. She could be super argumentative. She could be negative. She could just be rude to people. Drowners like to complain about things in their lives they're actually responsible for, but they're gonna look to you to try and fix or lean on you anytime they need a quick pick-me-up. Now, I'm not talking about small bouts of normal depression here. I'm not talking about a few bad days. I'm talking about the people where every day is a bad day and she's never gonna do anything to make it better. Instead, she's gonna look to you less as a man, more of just a shoulder for her to lean on. And when you're down, she's not gonna be there to prop you up or refill your emotional batteries. When you're with somebody like this after a while, every single little complaint just chips away at your ability to be a happy, empathetic, and successful person. It's like trying to swim peer-to-peer with a 9-foot blonde tied to your foot. These women are constantly down in the dumps. If you give them long enough, they'll drag you down with them. Most of them not even being aware enough of your situation to notice. If she leans on you for constant support, doesn't lift you up when you need it, then she's a drowner. Just hanging around drowners for long enough will leave you feeling heavy, empty, even depressed. You'll slowly see things that you've been passionate about your entire life start getting put to the wayside so that you can tend to her emotional needs. Guys, when we feel drained, it becomes much more difficult to get from where we are now to where we want to be. Remember, your emotional and mental resources are every bit as important as your partner's. And if they continuously put their needs in front of yours, then they're a non-match and you can find somebody who's going to be better equipped to be on a team with you rather than in constant opposition. I'm all about being empathetic and supportive when somebody needs a pick-me-up because they're down on their luck. But there does come a time when we need to make sure we have enough juice left in our batteries to take care of ourselves. Otherwise, we're going to end up stuck. Your needs deserve to be met. Letting a partner suck the life out of you is cross to the goal of a healthy relationship. A good woman will breathe fire and life into you. Now, you shouldn't fully rely on anybody to do this, but your experiences with your significant other should complement what you've already worked on together to build. And that person should deepen your enjoyment of that life. Spotting drowners isn't all that hard. Think back to the time that you spent with the person. Are you enjoying this person or not? Were the majority of those experiences positive and did they leave you feeling lighter? Or were they just kind of cruddy and made you feel held down and you're not really looking forward to spending time with that person again? Even if you're on a date with a woman and you notice that she's falling into these negative patterns, you wouldn't believe how easy it is to stop somebody dead in their tracks if you were just to stand up and say something like, hey, it doesn't seem like you're in a good place tonight. I think I'm gonna head out. Either she's gonna apologize and realize how overly negative she's been, or you just avoided another red flag. Now, dudes, I've gone over some of the biggest red flags that I experienced while I was dating, and I promised at the beginning of the video that I'd give you guys my #1 tip for kind of avoiding all this as a whole. It's a lot easier than you think. The best way that you can avoid pretty much all of this 100% of the time is simply to vet who you are dating better. Properly vetting who you're dating early on can save you a ton of drama later. Too many men have agreed to jump into the ocean without making sure they know how to swim well enough first, and vetting is your life preserver. You need to be going on several dates, taking your time. Check on their online presence. Make sure you're aware of how they act around their friends and their family when they don't get their way or they're upset with you, because it's going to happen. As a part of the vetting process, you need to make absolutely sure that you are not giving pretty women a pass. Just realize that if you've attracted one, then you can attract many. It doesn't matter if you've just met or you've been together for years. Never stop vetting. Don't ever lower your standards, and don't be afraid to walk away. If you're already in a relationship with somebody who's displaying these patterns, then you need to be a man and have the hard conversation and stand up for what you believe to be acceptable in a relationship, to either get through it or decide to separate. Stop lowering your own value by associating with women like this. Inevitably, it's going to take a huge toll on your mental and emotional state. Vet your partner so you find people who actually lift you up, women that you can build with, who you enjoy being around. Find somebody that you respect, who's sober enough to live firmly and happily in a reality that you share. Good, honest, loyal women still exist. I think a lot of you guys just need to make sure that the net you're casting is designed to catch the type of fish that you're actually looking for. Some red flags escalate over time rather than manifesting themselves early in the relationship. But if you maintain your boundaries and expectations, yeah, you might be alone for longer, but you'll be glad that you did. If you repeatedly attract a certain type of red flag woman, then you need to take an honest look in the mirror and ask yourself why. If you fall into any of these red flag patterns, do us all a favor and take yourself off the market until you can figure your shit out. Guys, I'm here for you, and I really appreciate you hanging out so long through this video. Leave me a comment about experiences that you've had or things that I left off my list that you think are red flags that other guys should be avoiding. Depending on your responses and thoughts, I may even create another video in this vein, because there's obviously a lot of things out there to avoid. Thanks for watching. Feel free to cruise the channel. 2022 is going to be a huge year for us. But more importantly, make sure that you're still leveling up, that you're spending quality time with your family, that you're taking the properly vetted and qualified dates while you can. I'm a not so single time. I'll see you next, Dad. That's probably it.
I'm a not so single dad.
I'm a not so single dad. I'm a not so single time that you can dad with. We're gonna Google Drive them. It'll also, or we'll just hardline it to my computer and we'll just set the file off.